Okay, welcome back to Ranma Anime Review, episode number 50. Yep, reaching 50 for this one. Awesome. Could this reach 100? It is possible, given the fact we have a lot more manga to adapt. I did take a head count of how many chapters we have for so far for this whole series in 22 episodes, which, by the way, this episode covered chapters 74 to 77 of the manga, which is the Romeo and Juliet arc. Which, by the way, that is the arc that came after the arc that was set for episode 19 of the series. So they skipped over this arc because they want to use Hepposai. They do his introduction in actually they basically just introduced Uki over the course of the previous couple episodes, and now we're going back to this. Kind of interesting. So, as this for episode, because they basically have adapted so far the whole series 72 chapters in 22 episodes, which means there is exactly 335 chapters left to go for the entire series. I would say chronologically, when it comes to if you want to basically watch this in a proper order, because for some reason the last several episodes they adapt the arcs out of order. I'm not really sure the reason for this per se. It is one of the most baffling things. Because I know for a fact the first 50 chapters, well, for the anime anyways, were all adapted completely in order. As for why in the world they were skipped over, why would they skip over, like, because basically the last arc they adapted that was in order was the full body cat tongue arc, which was adapted for episodes 14 to 16. And then for some weird reason, not sure the reason for this, for the past, basically, ever since then, it seems like after episode 16, I guess the studio, MAPPA, is like, hey, let's not adapt this arc in order, let's adapt it out of order, for reasons. I don't know exactly the reason for this per se. It is one of the most baffling things I have ever seen for an anime. Now, yes, usually does that mean that the continuity is not really? No, because all the arcs are pretty self-contained. It is kind of interesting though, the fact they pretty much spent the first for the first like 16 episodes all in order. And then they just skip over 8 chapters to do the martial arts takeout arc, which was 15-6. That was episode number 17. The Evil Wakes covered 63, 66, 60, and 69. Yes, kind of interesting that they'd have to almost an entire arc for one episode. You think, oh, it's like they start 60 and 69. You might think, oh, is that 7 chapters? Not really. It is roughly 4 full chapters. That's 63, 66, and 66, 60, and 69. 64, 67, it's, 64, it's like half the chapter. 67 is like one freaking page. I'm not kidding about that. It's one freaking page. Look it up. Yep, and then we have Infinite Spring, which is kind of in a way the very next episode, next arc, which was the Dojo Destroy arc. And you'll think, oh, which is Roman G, which came next after this one. You think, oh, next episode. Nope. Basically what they did is they skipped over 2 straight story arcs once again. They skipped over roughly 12 chapters. Yeah, they skipped over Romeo and Juliet, which I was in for this episode. And Japanese Nachin. Yes, they skipped over this one too. Which is, like I said, it's roughly 12. And of course, they also skipped over Akane versus Kadochi, a cookie battle arc. Yep, they skipped over this one. So yeah, first they skipped over 2 arcs, and then they adapted the Dojo Destroyer, and then they skipped over 3 straight story arcs to adapt the Ukyo Kuichi introduction arc, which adapted over the course of 2 episodes. And now we're going to an arc they skipped, which was Romeo and Juliet. Yes, which it's only 4 chapters. You probably would think, is the anime like ruining its continuity, definitely stuff out of order? Not really, no. Yeah, I'm hoping. Now, here's the thing with the season. Unlike the first season of the show, which had ended after 12 episodes because there was no confirmed episode count. All of a sudden, 12 episodes done. This season, however, so far, we are 10 episodes in. Yes, 10 episodes. And no confirmation if this is 12 or not. We just have a second season. It lasts probably as long as it wants to. I have heard also recently that Mappa is accused of running their work as a sweatshop for this show. Yes, seriously. And you're like, huh? You're like, how the heck is that possible? Yeah, because recently just came out there is a controversy involving Mappa. So apparently it's received mixed feelings by the anime community. Well, a remake adaptation of this original manga is praised. Its slight censorship to criticize. I'm like, this is about missing nipples? Do these people actually not read the frickin' manga? There's no nipples there. This criticism's utter nonsense. Yeah. So basically, Akane is asked to be Juliet. We need a Romeo. So you have Ranma, Takumi, and Episai along with Akane's stalker. These 4 guys are competing to be Romeo, and the winner gets shipped to China. And there's a sponsor, and the whole thing is like, and of course they get the wrong idea of Juliet. Romeo, he's a prince of another country, not a samurai. You're probably thinking, why is a Japanese high school trying to do a play that was written by somebody from the United Kingdom? Answer, it's public domain. They could probably do a version of the story if they want to. But the thing is, it's a European story. But the only reason they probably get access to the story is because basically the Japanese culture, the government is basically heavily inspired by the British Parliament. That's kind of the reason for it. So they basically split up, so fighting each other. There's one point it seems like, Rama goes to girl form and just so he kisses Kudo, where puts a piece of tape on his lips and kisses that, and somehow that's not counted as a kiss. And they go back and forth for a while, and then at one point, Connie is basically unconscious. Got kissed like it's Sleeping Beauty. I'm like, Romeo and Juliet is a tragedy. They both die. That's what I've heard anyways. So they go with a Sleeping Beauty treatment and just supposedly, let's have Rama and Connie kiss. And apparently it's encouraged by their dads. Yes, seriously. Their dads are encouraging their children to make out with each other. And then Akane does, we sort of have a kiss, and it's Akane putting his tape around his lips and put a kiss on it, and supposedly the Chinese visit is bringing the sponsor to Akane's house. You're like, what? Now, that's not the fault of the anime, that's the fault of the manga for that, so don't blame Mappa for that. Yeah. Do I think it's a terrible episode? No, I don't. I actually am hoping that the anime itself, pretty much in the way, I'm hoping that before the season ends, they actually just, they should definitely adapt the arcs they skipped over so far, which there is not really a lot. I would say There is Breakout Point, Martial Arts Tea Ceremony. Yeah, those 2 arcs. You think, okay, what else is there? There is Japanese Nichin, which, by the way, this arc is really short. It's like 3 chapters. There is Akane versus Kadochi. And that's it. You have roughly 5 story arcs. I mean, could they adapt these things over the course of the remaining few episodes? I don't know. This all depends upon Mappa. We have to wait and see. As for what's going to be the next episode, don't know. They did not have, like, the one thing about this current adaptation that other shows tend to have, we have pretty good what's happening next. This one, no, there is no preview for next week's episode. None whatsoever. But yeah, that's going to be pretty much that particular video. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications. Next up we have is the band's competition is being stronger. Okay, thanks again.